Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. This is your host Vaibhav. I welcome all of you to today's session of Daily Stock, in which we are going to cover the quarterly earnings for the Microsoft, the largest company by market capitalization in the world. Its current market cap stands over US dollar 3.1 trillion. I think it is somewhere close to US dollar 3.16 trillion, and it keeps rising. It is now also getting some competitions from the likes of Apple and the newer entrant Nvidia, which has taken the world by the storm. And Microsoft has its own advantages also in the AI game. It is using the chips provided by the Nvidia to you to derive the use cases and then get the market, get the customers to adapt to these newer uses of the AI, and that is driving the frenzy with Copilot plus PC. And of course, it has been the lead player in the AI space, and that is why we have seen its market cap go through the roof, and it is likely to keep gaining in the near future as well. Of course, we can't really be too sure about the long term, but in the near future, it is sitting pretty with this bullishness in its momentum, and I feel it is more likely to consolidate its recent gains, and it has been doing precisely that for last couple of months. And in the remaining part of this year, in the second half of 2024, we are likely to see it consolidate its gain, and maybe uh, late run on the higher side is also possible. But for the time being, provided the forward guidance is matched in its second quarter earning, we can then talk more confidently about that. But as of now, its forward guidance for the second half is not expecting any solid growth over its first quarter. It is expecting its revenues to consolidate, its net income to consolidate around the levels which were reached in the first quarter of this fiscal year. So, in that context, we have to look for the opportunities to take advantage of the situation, and then in this bullishness, we can find some trading and investing opportunities to profit, to gain the bullishness and gain in the market. Now we head to the JForex 4, the newly released trading platform from the Dukascopy Bank SA. In the first quarter, its revenues have risen to US dollar 61.85 billion, and in this first quarter, it has shown why it is valued as the largest company in the world by market capitalization, because not many companies are there which are able to generate this net income of US dollar 22 billion. And of course, this is the big development, big profitability, and I don't really feel that in the near future there is any threat, anything which can adversely impact the profitability of the Microsoft, and that is why I feel we should be trying to stay in the game, stay invested in the Microsoft, and keep looking for the opportunities to profit in the its bull run. We can get the opportunities provided we are patient enough and target right price levels to have the risk reward ratio in our favor. The net income has risen sharply in last 1 year. If you consider the first quarter earnings for the fiscal year 2023, its net income was at US dollar 18.3 billion. Now it is higher by more than 10 percentage point, and If we consider the revenues also grew sharply by around more than 15 percentage points. So there is this tremendous growth in the revenues, and that is also being backed by the similarly sharp increase in the net income. Even if you consider the 9 months period, 9 months period ended March 31st, 2024, even in that case, this profitability is quite good and it is likely to keep gaining ground. For the second quarter, it is expecting the revenues to be consolidating close to the US dollar 21 billion mark. It is not providing any sharp increase in its forward guidance. Rather, the Microsoft expect the second quarter earnings to be close to the first quarter earnings. So in the second quarter, we are not expecting any sharp gains, and that translates to consolidation phase for the stock valuations as well. Of course, if the company is not expecting its revenues and its net income to rise too much from the current levels, we can be fairly assured that the stock price is not really likely to move much from its current range. It is likely to spend its time in consolidation, and we can try to take advantage of that as well. For the people interested in knowing its balance sheet, the balance sheet looks strong. Its assets are in good shape, the liabilities are in check. There is nothing much which we need to worry about. It's going concern. So we straight away head to the cash flow statement. In the cash flow statement, you can find that there was a huge cash inflow of US dollar almost 32 billion from the operations, and this is a tremendous increase of more than 20% in comparison to the cash flows from the operations last time around for the 3 months ended March 31st, 2023. In the financing space, it used US dollar 18.8 billion, which is also increase in comparison to the cash used in the financing activity last time around. Of these 18 billion, US dollar 11.5 billion went for the repayment of debt. That spending was zero last time around. There was also repayment of debt for the maturities of 90 days or less. So that also took away US dollar 3.8 billion. There was new issuance of the debt, so we got these proceeds, the cash inflows on account of that of US dollar 6.3 billion. So overall, its financing activity was in line with its cash generation as it generated a good amount of cash from the operation. It decided to pay off some of the short-term debt, and that is why we are seeing this cash outflow of US dollar 18.8 billion. Coming to the investment activity, the company has decided to enhance its operations. So there is this investment of almost US dollar 11 billion in the property and equipment, and in times to come it will pay off handsomely. That is my take on its spending for the investment. So overall there was a change of US dollar 2.3 billion in its cash and cash equivalents from the beginning of period. So now we have these cash and cash equivalents at the end of the period at US dollar 19.6 billion. That is lower in comparison to the cash position for the same period last time around, because this time around it has opted for the settlement of the short-term debt. So that has also taken away some cash at hand and reduce the liability in the short run. Now we turn our gaze to the technical side of the story. It is the Microsoft charting, where each candle period is defined at hourly. For last couple of weeks, we have seen it holding steady on these elevated levels. It has been hovering in this range of around 430 to 400. It hasn't really dipped much in the recent past. There was this decline in the second half of April of around 10 percentage point, but in no time it gained back all of those losses, and now it is not really far off from the all-time high touched couple of weeks back in the second half of May, and I am fairly confident that it is likely to make a newer peak, and in course of time, it is going to be above 450 mark. Of course, that might take days, that might take weeks. Of course, we can't really be too sure about that. But given the way its price formation is, we can expect the bullishness to continue in the price action of the Microsoft. And in that scenario, adopting buy on dips is going to be a good call for the traders and the investors alike. If your view is to profit from the Microsoft's this bullish momentum, I feel pay attention to its recent swing high and swing low formation. As long as the momentum remains bullish, you can be trying to take advantage of these higher highs and higher lows by trying to go for the long trade whenever you feel that there is correction and the consolidation, which is not really making a newer swing low. Instead, it is getting support on the levels close to prior swing low. In that scenario, you can try to initiate newer trades with the expectation of a new swing high being made in course of time. So in the short term, watch out for the price action over next couple of sessions. If there is a new swing high, and as and when there is further dip, its decline should be contained within these immediate swing low range or above that. So if there is a new swing high formation above 433 and next correction is not really below 404 mark, then I feel we can be fairly confident of the continuity of bullishness in the Microsoft and try to take advantage of this bull run in the short term. The momentum is not really looking much different in the medium term as well. Here also you can see that its range is holding quite well since the February of this year. Here the range has narrowed, but still the momentum is on the bullish side. This time around also we saw this deep towards 400 level, but in no time it gained back the lost ground, and looking at its current trajectory, I feel it is well poised for the newer swing high, new record high in coming days or maybe at the max in coming weeks. So now watch out for the price level anywhere close to 400 mark, provided a new swing high is made in this rally, and after that, as and when there is a deep, we should wait for some consolidation, and if it shows the signs of respecting the price levels close to these immediate swing lows, in that case I think we can indeed try to initiate a fresh long trade with the possibility of Microsoft again bouncing towards the immediate high closer to the 430 marks. Now, in the long run, the trajectory is bullish. So whether you are looking at it from the short term perspective, the medium term perspective, or the long term perspective, on all these three different time horizons, the momentum is bullish. The only thing is now, from the long-term perspective, Microsoft is at the very top, so there is room for it to correct somewhat and maybe enter into a consolidation phase. And after that, we can get involved for the newer trade. So that is going to take some time. If your outlook is on the long run, I would say that adopting a wait and watch approach is going to be the prudent thing to do, simply because there is not much of an elbow room for it to run higher in the near term. And if your outlook is of the long run, then I feel some correction, maybe 10 percentage point correction from the near high, shouldn't be ruled out. It can happen anytime, even in the second half of April. We saw precisely that. So after its new high was made of 433, it has seen this corrective move on the lower side, which took it close to 400. Now it has successfully bounced back, but I feel that in the long run, you want your risk reward ratio as well as valuation to be in your favor. So that is not really the case with the Microsoft's current price valuation, even though the trajectory is, of course, bullish. So I think adopting this wait and watch approach and being a bit cautious at the current juncture is going to serve us well, serve everyone well if your outlook is of the long run. Looking at these all the three different time frames, I feel the better way to deal with the Microsoft price trajectory is to adopt a bullish stance. The only thing is, depending on your time horizon, you will have to try to get the risk reward ratio in your favor. That means sometimes waiting it out, sometimes maybe hurrying it up. So depending on the price trajectory and the context about that, you can make a fairly studied prediction of how things are likely to play out. And if you get it right, of course you will be making handsome amount of profit. And even if you get it wrong, then given the fact that we have adopted a prudent approach, a cautious stance, the losses won't be that too high. So either way, of course, we can get it wrong, we can get it right. That is the way how it works. You can't be correct all the time, but you can plan it well. You can try to contain your losses. So that is what we are trying to do here. Now it's time for me to sign off for the day. If you have any query, any idea to share, do write to me in the feedback, and I will be more than happy to take the discussion forward. Thank you all for joining in. Have a fabulous day ahead. And of course, there is the reminder, if you have found this session informative and useful for your trading and investment purpose, do write to me in the feedback. You can subscribe to the channel so that equally informative content keeps reaching you. Thank you all for joining in. See you next time around. Till then, goodbye.